Hi, and welcome to Imagine This Stories. I wish it were summer edition. As I sit here in the cold and snow, my mind drifts to warmer days. Days filled with warm sunshine, a big blue ocean, and building sandcastles. Have you ever built a sandcastle? What did it look like? I imagine it was made out of sand. Maybe you added some seashells, perhaps some sticks, and then maybe placed a seagull feather on top. In today's story, called Sandcastles, you're going to meet someone who decides to build on sand. So sit back, relax, kick off your shoes, and for the next few minutes, imagine this. In today's story, I'd like you to meet two brothers. First is Scemo. In case you're wondering what Scemo means, it's the Italian word for fool. Scemo is a nice enough guy. He's just sometimes a little nonsensical. Let me give you a couple of examples. A few years ago, Scemo invited some friends over for Thanksgiving dinner. He knew that he had to make a turkey. I mean, that's what you eat on Thanksgiving, right? So he bought a turkey and opened up his cookbook. He found the page that said how to cook a turkey. Step 1. Buy a turkey. Check. Step 2. Turn on the oven. He turned on the oven to heat it up. Check. Step 3. Dress the turkey. Wait, what? Dress the turkey? What does that mean? Scemo didn't know what it meant, but instead of looking it up and learning that it means to clean up the turkey and get it ready to bake, he went to his bedroom, got an old t-shirt, and put it on the turkey. Check! Step 4. Put the turkey in a pan and bake it in the oven. Scemo plopped that t-shirt wearing turkey into a pan and popped it into the oven. Check! While the turkey was cooking, he decided to make a dessert. He had heard someone at the market say that they were going to make a cheesecake for dessert. Scemo thought, that sounds like a very tasty idea. So he got a giant block of Swiss cheese. He then got a container of chocolate icing and spread it all over the cheese. Everyone likes chocolate, he thought. Finally, he added some rainbow sprinkles on the top. He stood back and looked at his masterpiece. He smiled. It looked delicious. That night, when his friends arrived, he pulled the turkey out of the oven. Ugh, the t-shirt had burned and stuck to the turkey. It made an awful mess. Needless to say, they did not eat turkey that night. Yeah. Fortunately, his friends had brought over some other foods like mashed potatoes and green beans and sweet potato casserole with little marshmallows on top. They ate those, and then Scemo brought out his cake. Oh, his friends oohed and ahed. The cake looked fantastic. Scemo got a knife and began to cut the cake. It took a little effort, as cutting through a giant block of Swiss cheese is not easy to do. He put pieces onto some plates and passed them out. His friends looked very confused. On their plates was a large slice of Swiss cheese covered in icing and rainbow sprinkles. Scemo sliced his piece and took a big bite. Bah! And then he spit it back out.
Yeah, I do not know why people like cheesecake, he muttered.
Scemo did a lot of things like this. He was not at all like his brother. Meet Saggio. His name means wise in Italian, and just like Scemo's name describes him, Saggio's name describes him as well. Saggio was very good at thinking before he spoke, and looking things up when he didn't know what they meant. He would ask questions if he didn't understand. He was a wise man. One day, Saggio and Scemo were walking Scemo's dog, whose name was Cat, by the way. Yeah, I have no idea why. When the two brothers got to talking. I think I'm going to build a house, said Saggio. I found some land near here that would be great to build on. It's on the top of a flat hill made of rock. It's a great, solid place for me to build a home on. Shamo liked the sound of that.
Oh, I want to build a house too.
That's great, said Saggio. There's enough land up here for both of us to build on.
Ow, I don't want to live on top of a hill,
said Shamo.
I want to live by the ocean.
Good news, said Saggio. You can see the ocean from the top of the hill, and it's only about a 10-minute walk down the hill to get there.
Oh, that's much too far away for me,
said Shamo.
I will find land much closer.
So, Saggio built his home on the top of the rock hill, while Shamo built his home closer to the ocean. Much closer. Like right on the sandy beach. Both of the houses were finished at about the same time. Shamo invited Saggio to come over and see his house. It was a large home with big windows that looked out over the sea. Saggio told his brother it looked like a good house, but he wasn't so sure how wise it was to build it on the sand. Do you imagine he was right? That night, they had dinner of grilled cheese sandwiches, which Shamo made by cooking cheese on a grill. It was a messy meal for sure. They then walked up the hill to Saggio's new house for dessert. Saggio had made a blood orange cake. Shamo was very confused.
I didn't know oranges have blood,
he said. They don't, said his brother. Blood oranges are just a kind of orange that's redder than other oranges, so the juice is just a little darker. As they ate their yummy cake, the wind started to pick up. Before long, a storm had blown in. Lightning lit up the sky. The waves on the ocean started to get really big. They were also getting really close to Shamo's new house. The storm raged on. The waves got closer and closer, until one of them actually hit the house. Saggio and Shamo looked on from Saggio's new home. Another wave hit the house. It shook again, and while the home was still standing tall, the sand underneath it started to wash away. Pretty soon, the house was tilting to one side, and a little while later, fell over completely. A pile of wood and stones lay on the shore. Meanwhile, the brothers were safe and dry inside of Saggio's new home. It was doing great. The wind and the rain poured, but the house on the rock stood firm. The end. Okay, I know. I imagine you may be thinking, I really don't think that story's in the Bible. Okay, in a way, you are correct. There is no story in the Bible about Shamo and Saggio and the homes they built. But there is a parable in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, that talks about a wise man who builds his house on a rock and a foolish man who builds his house on sand. And when the storm comes, the house on the rock stands firm, while the house on the sand falls flat. Jesus liked to tell stories, or parables, and this is one of the stories he told. He did it to teach us things. In this story, he's teaching us that he is strong and dependable. When we follow and obey him, we can stand firm, like the house on the rock, knowing that when hard times come, Jesus is here to help us. But when we decide to do things our own way and not God's way, we're like the foolish person who builds a house on the sand. When hard times come, things fall down flat. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Oh, and on a side note, if you speak Italian, I am so sorry for my pronunciation. Please share Imagine This Stories with at least one person this week. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you again soon as we imagine this.